Right, here's a quick video showing you how to assemble one of these speed loaders for your HG138 grenade launcher. You're going to need a few things to start with. Obviously you will need the three 3D printed pieces, the main body, the front cap and a plunger. And you're going to want to clean these up, so make sure that the edges are nicely sanded and that any of the flashing that's around the holes has been removed. And you'll probably also just want to sand down the sides to get rid of any little nubbins that there are of 3D print material on there, so they're nice and smooth. First thing you're going to do to prepare is to drill out some of these holes. So in the main body you're going to take a 6mm drill bit and you're just going to ream out all these holes, these eight holes around the edge, not the one in the middle, just the ones around the edge, and that's just to allow the BBs a smooth passage through there. And then finally what you're going to do is you're going to take a slightly larger drill bit, like a 6.5mm drill bit, and you're just going to go about 3 or 4mm down from the top end. That's the end with the larger hole on, not the smaller hole, the end with the larger hole on. You're just going to go down about 3 or 4mm down each hole. The reason you're doing that with a slightly larger drill bit is that you can see there are lock nuts here on the plunger end, and you want those to be able to go right the way in to the body. So you're just enlarging those holes a little bit to make that easier. So that should be all that you need to do to prepare the 3D prints. The hardware that you're going to need 8 of these, which are 35mm M3 countersink socket head bolts. It's a bit of a mouthful. 35mm M3 countersink socket head. 8 of those for each speed loader. You're also going to need 4 of these brass couplers. Now these are 50mm in length, and the reason you need 4 is you're going to cut them all in half with a hacksaw. So doing that means that you get 8 which are 25mm long. You can just buy 8 25mm ones if you like, but it's probably cheaper to buy 4 50mm ones and cut them down. Doesn't matter, actually, you can do it either way. After you've cut them in half, make sure that you file the ends of them so that they're all smooth, and also you chamfer the edges, and that just means that they're not going to catch when they're traveling through the barrels here. The final thing that you're going to need is some M5 threaded rod, and probably one nut, a lock nut ideally, but not absolutely necessary. Hang on. An M5 lock nut, and this is going to provide the central screw here that stays stationary. So that's what this threaded bar is for. So you're going to cut a length of threaded bar that is, well, I don't know how to measure it. It doesn't have to be exact, so let's just measure how long this one is. So this one is about 70mm. Yeah. So call it 70mm. Cut 70mm of this. That will be enough. And then you're also going to want a very small section of it. You're going to want a small section because you're going to make one of these little studs for the end of it here. So for that one, you probably make that about, I don't know, 15mm long, something like that. On 15mm length one, you're going to want to make sure that you hacksaw out a groove in it so that you can use it like a you can use a flat blade screwdriver on it. Right. Construction. So you're going to screw in your 8 M3 countersink bolts in there, and then you're going to screw the lock nuts onto there. It doesn't really matter how you do it. I think I used a drill with a socket attachment on it so it could just speed it up, and I just held the lock nuts in with pliers while I spun with the drill, so it just made it easier. Then what you're going to want to do is, once you've got those all in place, you're going to want to thread your couplers on, and you're going to want to roughly assemble it so that you've got the right length of the coupler, so that they are just poking out the ends of the end cap, with that all one on top of each other. So that's the length that you're going for, and you'll also probably need to just slightly tweak the length of these couplers just by screwing them on and off in order to make sure that they're all level. And you want to use thread lock or super glue to hold those in place. So once you've screwed them on, you might want to unscrew them a bit, put a bit of super glue or thread lock on, screw them back up so that they're going to be held nicely in place. With your M5 rod, you're going to want to screw that in, either again cut a slot in the top, or just use pliers or something to screw it into the body here. And what you're going to do is you're going to screw that lock nut wherever that's gone. Never mind. You're going to screw the lock nut onto the end of it, and basically you're going to screw this threaded rod down until it reaches the point at which you can comfortably put 6 BBs into here. Sorry, 5 BBs, I apologise, 5 BBs into this body, and have them flush with the top of just the body, with all of these couplers still sticking out the end. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to find the point where the retraction point, the furthest retraction point that you need. So it's difficult to describe, but basically if I had this screwed in too far here, then this plunger wouldn't be able to pull out far enough, and I wouldn't be able to fit 5 BBs in each chamber here. If I had it too far out, then this would come all the way out, and these couplers would actually come out of these holes here. So there's going to be a point where this height is set correctly, where the couplers don't come out of the barrel, but where you can still get 5 BBs in here, and that's not counting the top cap. The reason you don't count the top cap for capacity is because you need to be able to twist this while there are 5 BBs loaded inside. So that will then set the length of this. There is an option for you if you want. You can see here I've got, this is smooth, it's not threaded, and that's just because I used a piece of stainless steel tube here to go over the top of that rod. Finally, last thing you're going to do is attach this top cap here. The way to do that is to screw in your 15mm piece of threaded bar into this piece here until you've just got a little bit protruding out the top, using super glue to attach it. Then what you should be able to do is, once that's set, you put the top cap onto the body using a combination of that flat bladed screwdriver to drive it in and just turning it by hand. You're going to screw it in until you've got a point where you've screwed it so that the flat sides are aligned, and there's a little bit of tension there, still not too much, allowing you to turn it. You should be able to reach that reasonably easily, and that should be you done. To test it, just load it up, make sure that the BBs can go through all of these parts. Again, look, this top cap here, you might benefit from reaming that out with the 6mm drill as well, just to make sure the BBs are going to be able to fit through it. But I think that's it. Sounds complicated, but promise you it's not. So good luck.